Hey there, this is Malorian, and this will be my hobby update for December 2013. So we're going to talk about the stuff I painted back in November, and then the stuff I'm working on, tournaments coming up, just stuff like that. Now, to talk about what I've been working on, the main thing has been Bretonnians. I had a hard little start there, got in there with a pretty good prophetess, and then this last month there for November, it's like Bretonnians. Now I got to do the knights. These knights have to get done. And I gotta say, it's basically like epic fail is the best way to describe this, because it just did not happen. And I want to talk about that right now. This is one of the ones I kind of got partially into, and I gotta say first that looking at this, when I made the decision, I was gonna make each one individual, and I was gonna make just really excited for this one. It'll be like, okay, the pig night, and I'll draw a little pig, and it'll be whatever, maybe bacon on there or something. I just like have fun with it, right? And I had all this really good feelings, and then also when I started painting. And man, all the old things came back, and that's the reason why I've had these guys for so long and they're still not painted. And what it really comes down to is two different things. First of all, these goddamn horses. And what it is just trying to get to all the different angles on them. One of the things is I know Once Bitten has an amazing Bretonnian army, and next time I'm over there, I really got to go and take a look, because to me, inside here, inside the barding, I know most people will never see it when they're all lined up, but me just knowing, I just got to get that right, that separation for where the legs are in the barding, and because the way how it drapes down, it is such a pain to get your brushes in to get all the different angles. It is just super frustrating, and it can take forever just to get that right. Now, that's one part. That's just a little bit frustrating. If that was all it was, I could have easily gotten still through it. It wouldn't have been enjoyable, but I could have gotten through it. Here's the number one thing that's a big killer. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then on the knight, 5 shields. Now, what's the big deal with shields? Well, the big problem with shields is that for Bretonnians, that's where the heraldry goes. If you're the bacon knight, that's where I have to draw bacon on. Now, I've done some freehand, but it's really rudimentary. I do my orc and goblin banners, and I just gotta draw like a little orky face. And the worse it looks, the more orky it looks. It's all good news. On here, I need to have some actual skills. Just a little crudely made little kind of like orc head doesn't really work. You need to have something a little bit nicer. And I mean, even if something simple like I'm going to be an axe. Well, the thing is that all 5 of those times, not only do you have to do a nice clear axe, but you have to do it exactly the same, because man, this is side by side, and if one axe is slightly bigger than the other, you're going to see it. So this is more of a skill issue, and I just don't have the skill to do this. It really does suck, but that was just the real killer there, that after I was all done with this one here and trying to get all the angles, it was like, all right, time to do the shield. Oh God, and then I make this realization, it's done. So really, the whole Bretonnian project is dead. I'm not going to paint them, and the thing I have to really decide now is that since I am deciding that I'm not going to paint them, do I keep them unpainted and just play with them for fun? Do I sell them and just get rid of them and say, like, you know what, this is time to give up on it? Or do I actually get painted by others? I know Anthony did the thing where he sent it out to other people and got it painted. I don't really want to get into that and the shipping and all those things. There's local guys here that I could always pay them whatever per night to get things done. It's just making that financial decision. So I just got to decide, like I said, unpainted, sell, pay somebody else, because it's just not going to happen for me to paint a whole 100 knights to make the army. It's just not going to happen. So I'm not going to just, like, one of the problems with this is I'm part of this Tale of Fantasy Painters on Warseer. In fact, I'm kind of running the thing. So me backing out is really bad. So instead, I'm transitioning into Orcs. So what I painted for this month in November there is I painted my Wyvern. I actually had another Wyvern. This is my second one that I got that I actually went and changed up the rider so that the rider is the one that actually comes from a guy riding a boar. I also went and just kind of switched up his shield too. And one of the interesting things I was thinking about looking at this shield is right now there's kind of like a stretched orc face over it. It's kind of like, oh yeah, he must have beat some other war boss and stretched his face over. One of the funny things I was thinking about this model is that, oh well, you know, if that was a human face, whoa, that'd be gruesome. Like that's gory stuff. But because it's an orc, oh okay, that's all right. Just kind of funny. But so past that, I mean, one of the best things about having this painted is that first of all, I'll have a battle report coming up here with double Wyvern, so that should be pretty cool. The next thing is that there's a very awesome Wyvern model, which is the Azhag, or however I say his name, model, where they came up with the new fine cast one. Well, he was metal before. Whatever. They have that Azhag model, which looks amazing. And I've always wanted to get it and paint it. Even though it's $100 or whatever, it looks so good. But I could never justify it to myself because I still hadn't painted this one. Now that this is done, now I'm going to get to paint that, or get that one as well and paint him up. And one of the things I really have a hope for the new book is when Orcs and Goblins come, is that big bosses could take Wyverns. I might be able to run triple Wyverns. You know, might have Azhag as a lord, and then 2 hero big bosses riding Wyverns too. Who knows what they have in store? We'll have to see. And man, I mean, then there'll be another, from what I hear, there'll be another Wyvern as part of the starter set, so then I might have 4 Wyverns. Whatever, I'll do it. But there you go. So what's going to be next then for painting in December? You know, I have a lot of orc stuff I could paint. What I'm going to be doing, though, is going with that other troll unit. Right now, all my trolls are really boring, or they're the river trolls, but I was starting to convert up that, well, third horde of trolls that now are converted up with different weapons and stuff. So those I'm going to start painting, and man, I gotta say, it's going to be really nice having those. First of all, because I really like converting. Second of all, because, like I say, I know I lose painting points because people look at my army and like, oh yeah, look how boring these guys all look. So once I get those mixed in, it'll look a lot better, and the army will look better, and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I don't know how many I will get done this month. I mean, this is now probably another 7 months still left in the whole tale, so it's not like I have to do everything right away. But, man, like I said, I have lots of Orcs and Goblin stuff I could paint. I'd love to paint another 100 Night Goblins, so I can now, you know, run triple Night Goblin 100 block hordes and stuff like that, and actually do like a real Night Goblin Huge force. So that's the stuff I'm going to be working on. And Del Solomon sent me a message and said, hey, I got rid of this Chaos Dwarf army years ago, and I have this Hobgoblin banner like BSB guy. You know, he liked watching the reports. He's a fellow father. He said, hey, how about I send this off to you? So here's the model here. It's probably not going to... You're going to look at it? So the thing I really like about this is, first of all, it has like the cool little head thing at the top there. You know, right now my current one just has like a boring moon or whatever. But the nice thing I like about this is that it actually has a weapon. The one that I converted to be my Night Goblin BSB has no weapon. And whereas a simple great weapon for 4 points makes them so much better. You know, oh, you got something to my bunker? Bam! You know, 3 strength, 6 attacks to the face. I just don't have anything modeled, so I can never claim it. But now with this, actually, I could claim that. The other thing is, too, is that just trying to spice up the army again. I mean, right now, the one I have, I mean, sure, it's a little bit different. I've converted it up, but really, he's just the old Night Goblin. This guy, you know, I've been playing for 10 years, and I've never seen this model. So this is really cool, and having this guy leading my army, well, as the BSB, will really make him stand out. I'll have to figure out a new type of banner to go with him and see what symbol I want to put on this guy. But yeah, really looking forward to painting this guy up and getting him in the army. And he was also wanting me to put up a link to his channel there. I'm going to do that when I finish painting this and I have it in a report, because I think more people will watch the battles than watch these hobby updates. But right now, I think he mainly has like just personal videos up there, but maybe he's planning to put up you know, hobby stuff coming up here. Anyway, this will be really cool and coming up. As far as tournaments go, I only had that month-long tournament. I was only able to make 2 of the 4 games, and the TO, I don't know what's going on with him, because he's there's not been a lot of updates. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I made it to the Final Four. Probably not, but who knows. Either way, the Final Four game was supposed to be done as a triumph and treachery game, which I'm not really a fan of because it's not really much of a tournament if the best player can just be teamed up on. So, well, whatever. I still might do it for fun, but doing the timings anyway, they'd probably do it on a weekend, and during the weekends, I'm not in Fort McMurray. I'm in Edmonton, so I wouldn't be around for it anyway. So that's that. In December, I'm not going to be going to any tournaments. There was one tournament called Winter War, but I didn't have permission from the wife to go before it sold out, so what can you do? Coming up in January, though, I'm now already preparing for this one. In the past, well, this is one that's called Out of the Basement, and normally they would run a 2-day event, and they'd run multiple systems, and I'd be doing fantasy, and then I just couldn't do War Machine because it's at the same time. They're actually breaking it apart this time and doing War Machine the first day and fantasy the second day. So I'm kind of planning for that one. It's going to be 35-point hardcore, and so I'm trying to plan out my lists and do some things with that. You'll see some battle reports with some play tests here, but this is a thing where I really want to do a lot better. I know for the fantasy side, if I really go after it, I can be at those top tables, no problem. But for War Machine, it's not really at that level there. I used to be where I was like above half, but ever since we've had guys coming from out of town, from the Grots and the Cogs, easily when I go to Steamrollers now, I'm in the bottom part. So I definitely want to up my game. I really want to take this very serious, so we'll have to kind of see how that goes. I'm playing with a couple ideas, but I'll get into that more in those videos. For the fantasy side, it's actually going to be a smaller size because like I said, normally it was a 2-day tournament. Now they're doing it on 1 day, and so to try and get in more games, they're really squeezing down the size. It's only 1,600 points, so I mean, normally I'd say 2,000 is a small game, but now this is going all the way down to 1,600. So at that small level, now I'm having to try and decide, what army would be best to doing this stuff. I've actually did an Orc tactical team on this a little while ago, but the problem is I'm kind of worried because at this level, I could do something and like take my, who knows, my Wood Elves, right? My Wood Elves could do very well at 1,600 points. However, somebody could squeeze in a Demon Prince at that level and then, destroy me type thing, right? Because I could run around, but eventually he'll get the angles to get me. It'd be very difficult, especially because Out of the Basement usually has a lot of scenarios that forces you to the center and different areas around the center of the board. So running around isn't normally a possibility. At the same time, I wouldn't want to take something like a Demon Prince because who knows, I'll just face it. People are going to take cannons, and if you lose a Demon Prince in a 1,600 point army as opposed to 25, it's a much bigger deal. So a lot of risk there. So right now I'm really trying to decide what army to take. I'm probably going to take Orcs and Goblins just because I love them, but it is really on the table right now, and I might take my Vampire Counts. I might try and spin things up. Wouldn't that be crazy if I took like Vampire Counts and then Matthew Reeson takes like Orcs and Goblins or something? Who knows? Maybe something crazy like that will happen. But yeah, so that's coming up, and so really just for things I've been thinking about, it's really been around that tournament. I know it's like 2 months away, but I'm really trying to put a lot of thought into it just because how it is so different, right? It's finally a War Machine tournament that I'm trying to do very well at, although I'm sure I won't. But and then there's also the fantasy tournament where, okay, this is a lot different. How am I going to play this out? And maybe I have to make the decision too that this isn't a tournament where I'm going to go to try and crush. Maybe the fantasy tournament I'm going to have more fun, and I will try something kind of wacky and different. But I'm still trying to make up those decisions. So either way, that's kind of the hobby update for November. Probably the only other thing to mention is hearing from the guys there in the States and talking about Brawler Bash, and they're already working on some dates and things like that, so should be a lot of fun. And either way, thanks for watching, and more battle reports coming right away. Bye.